Hey, what's going on everyone? Chris back with another video. Today we're going over the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite. This can be picked up from Banggood for about $170 to $200 depending on the storage variation and the color you pick. This is going to be the 3 gig RAM, 32 gig storage model option, also in the light blue color. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed. This is the second version of the Mi A line series. This is Android One. This is also the global version as well. Definitely check your carrier and the LTE band compatibility before you making a purchase and importing the device into your country, and that's always something important. This will work on AT&T and T-Mobile to an extent. It is missing some bands, so you're not going to get full compatibility, but this is Xiaomi's basically Android One series line, first with the Mi A1, now they have the Mi A2 and Mi A2 Lite. This is kind of the more, I guess, budget, but it has some differences between the Lite and the Mi A2, which I can get into in another video later on. So this is actually a really small box, definitely compared to some other phones that I currently have. We'll go ahead and just set the phone aside real quick, and we take a look, and it looks like there is a case here. We have a TPU case and some quick start guide information, user guide, no biggie there. So you actually do get a nice case. I always like that when cases are included. It is clear TPU, but it'll at least protect the phone from day one. We have your European style charging plug, and we can see here the output 5 volts 2 amps. And we have your charging cable and SIM ejection tool. This is only micro USB, so that's unfortunate. That is one of the downsides of the Lite variant. But here we are with the phone itself. Let's go ahead and just quickly peel away this Let's go ahead and quickly peel away the plastic overlay here. It gives you some of the specs. We have a 12 megapixel and 5 megapixel rear camera. Has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery inside, which kind of attributes to its kind of hefty weight. This kind of has a nice, really hefty feel to it, to be honest, for its kind of smaller size. And we also have this 5.84 full HD display up front underneath this plastic. Sorry if that wasn't so satisfying. And then quickly on the back, get rid of this. So it supports 3 cards all in one. So 2 nano SIMs and a micro SD card. That is also a difference between the Mi A2 and the Lite. This Lite version has micro SD card support, the Mi A2 doesn't. This also has a headphone jack, the Mi A2 doesn't. Unfortunately, this does have a notch, so you're gonna have to be okay with that. Fortunately, it does have micro USB at the bottom. Here are 2 grills at the bottom. Only one is going to be a speaker. We'll have to listen and check that out later on. Here's that SIM micro SD card tray. Up top, we do have a headphone jack. That is nice. We also do have a IR blaster, which we'll be able to use to control TVs, things like that. Fingerprint scanner on the back. Mi logo. Android One branding here. And here we have the 12 megapixel camera setup and 5 megapixel secondary camera with your flash. Your power volume buttons, pretty clicky and tactile. That's always nice to see. So up front we have the 5.84 inch display, full HD, so 1080p, so that's nice IPS LCD. Up here at the top we have the 5 megapixel front facing camera, the earpiece, and the proximity sensor up there. Another difference with the Mi A2 and the Mi A2 Lite. The Mi A2 Lite here has a metal back, and these 2 top and bottom portions are plastic. That is going to be for the antenna reception and things like that. Also, the difference would be the internal specs. The Mi A2 Lite has the old Snapdragon 626 processor, which is definitely dated by now. It also has 3 gigs of RAM or 4 gigs, and then also 32 gigs or 64 gigs of internal storage. So that also will affect the price and depending on where you pick this up from. So let's go ahead and get through the setup and take a look at the software of the Mi A2 Lite. All right, everyone, we are now through the setup. It's now restoring all of my apps and settings onto the device. And initially, these are the apps that come with the phone. So very minimal because it is Android One, basically stock Android. Benefits would be very minimal OS experience, like stock Android, as I've already mentioned. Quick updates, and also updates that will be going for 2+ years. So currently at the moment the device did and is currently on 8.1, and right away the first update, Android Pie. New features of FM radio, adaptive brightness, battery, as we already know in Android Pie. We can definitely go ahead and download and work on installing that. So we have the little animation down here at the bottom, similar to the Pixel, which is nice. Camera interface is not that of a Pixel or a Nexus, so this is going to be slight variation than what you'd be used to in that regard. But outside of that, you are going to have a stock Android experience. Can already tell right away, even while everything is installing, everything looks and feels to be pretty responsive. Definitely we'll have to wait and see how that works in a later video. But if we take a look here, some settings, display size, you can change that. Nothing new there. If we go down to system, gestures, we have swipe finger notification to bring that down. So that is nice and handy. Fingerprint, scanner unlock. I wouldn't say it's the fastest for sure. Again, you're talking about a device that is sub $200. So if we take a look at this. So yeah, fingerprint scanner will do the job nicely. Not the fastest as I mentioned, but it does work. Mi services, you can basically enter the user experience program and send diagnostic. That is basically it in that regard. There is a folder for feedback, a file manager, and Mi Drop. Mi Drop basically for cloud storage, sharing information, and things like that. So that's what that would be for. But other than that, you're getting the stock Android experience, your Google Now feed over on the left-hand side. So when Pi comes, we'll get all the benefits in terms of that. So $170, you get the Mi A2 Lite. Let's take a look at the camera actually real quick. Camera is a little slow to actually fire. So we tap the focus. Yeah, there is definitely a delay in terms of when you actually press the shutter and when it snaps a shot. So you have all your camera settings here. Portrait mode, square for Instagram, that sort of thing. Panorama, we have manual mode, which doesn't look to be very advanced at all, just ISO and white balance. If we go over here to the left, we have video, which we have time-lapse slow motion. Go into the settings, 1080p, so no 4K, that's no problem. Time-lapse settings, image stabilization. So that's going to be software image stabilization. There's no hardware stabilization here on the camera. Short video, this looks like probably is like GIF or some short video for programs. The phone is fairly thick. It's definitely not the thinnest phone, but it has a really nice heft to it. It feels weighty. It's narrow, so it's easy to use actually one-handed in these devices that are getting bigger and bigger every day. So here's the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite next to a OnePlus 6. We do have a fairly large bezel down here at the bottom. The bezels on the left and right are a little thick, The notch isn't that big, definitely similar size to like a OnePlus 6, that sort of thing. But having this large 4,000 milliamp hour battery tied with a Snapdragon 626, I can definitely foresee battery life on this to be really great, especially with the screen size being a lot smaller. Now that the Android Pie update actually installed with the December security patch, we can see the UI has changed to that of Android Pie. In battery settings, we have the adaptive battery. Also in display, we have adaptive brightness, which will learn your patterns and preferences over time, and that way you don't have to constantly swipe to change the brightness and things like that. This does support seamless updates, so it'll update the Android version, Android software in the background, and then you just restart the device once. You don't have to worry about waiting for the phone to actually install. You can continue using your phone. Here is actually the TPU case installed. It does protect the camera, so thick enough so that way the camera's not going to get scratched. No real lip up front, but not a big deal. We could put a screen protector on it, but overall it doesn't add any bulk. It at least makes the fingerprint scanner easy to find because there is now much more difference in terms of where it's located. Buttons still feel clicky with the case on. I actually like having the power button below the volume buttons instead of on the Pixel devices. It's on above. That is definitely inconvenient to try and reach the power button way up there. I must say the vibration motor on this isn't that great. I might have to just get used to it a little bit. I'm used to the Pixel 3, but this kind of, I don't know, it's definitely not a premium feeling in that regard. Ambient display when notifications, so that is currently here. You can unlock the bootloader, which is nice, which you'd expect, which I'll definitely end up doing at a later time, see what that's all about. Every device that I do, turning down the animations for that much snappier feeling of Android. So if we come to gestures, here we are. We can enable the Pie gestures that are now on Android Pie. You at least have the option for these or the stock left, home, or back, home, and recents. So now you have that Pixel-like experience without the cost of a Pixel. So definitely check out XDA to check to see if your device has a supporting developer that is bringing Pixel Experience ROM to your device. If you guys have any questions on the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite, let me know down in the comments below what you want to see me cover regarding this device. Thank you all for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.